What you have here is very special, and I'm going to get into why that is.
The name's Eva.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill, I'm searching and I'll melt into you.
Try to remember some of the basics of sequence.
You know, it's rather strange to live through the golden age of something and not realize it at the time. 2004 was a monumental year in gaming history, and I'm sure you will find throughout the internet right now that there are various lists of all the great releases that came out that year. And I'm telling you right now that pretty much January to December of 2004, you're pretty much guaranteed to have 5 banger releases each and every month of that year. It is incredible. And even going back to to do this video, I was reminiscing about some of those releases that year. I mean, we had what? Doom 3, Halo 2, Battlefield Vietnam, Monster Hunter, GTA San Andreas, Need for Speed Underground 2, Beautiful Joe, Ace Combat 5, Silent Hill 4, and the list goes on. I could probably make an entire video of that, and it would, for the most part, probably take me, I don't know, a couple hours for the video to be complete. And for the video in itself would be most likely, like, I don't know, a couple hours long. So, yeah, it was a great, monumental year in gaming history, and November that year, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater released. And man, let me tell you, I was so eager to play through that. Oh man. I remember November 17th going to my local GameStop that evening and going to the counter and being welcomed by the fellow nerd behind the counter. And when I told him I'm here to pick up my reserved copy of Metal Gear Solid 3, and yes, this was back in the day when reserving something or pre-ordering, whatever have you, actually meant that you would secure yourself a copy of the game because stores didn't have an infinite supply and you couldn't go to any digital storefronts back in the day. Like, you had to go physically go get that thing. All right? It was a special time in history, and to me it meant a lot because when I went to go pick this up, the fellow nerd behind the counter just went on. He got excited, his eyes lit up, and he looked at me, you know, me being what, 13, 14 at the time, and him saying like, "Yeah, you're gonna be able to, you're gonna like this game. Like you can grab people hostage. You can eat all these like animals and sneak around in the jungle and whatever." And I'm like, yeah, I kind of just chuckled at this guy, and I don't think he realized that for the last 6 months, I had been reciting and rewatching that E3 2004 trailer on a daily basis up until that point. Yeah, it was a bit dorky, but hey, that's me. This game meant a lot to me at the time. These are all characters that I hold near and dear, and one of which is the boss, and she remains to this day my all-time favorite female character. She's so complex, and just like so like she has so many layers, and the way that like she's portrayed, there's just so much going on, and that you can see that eats away at her, and then just the whole story and how like all these characters that you knew from Metal Gear Solid and then Metal Gear Solid 2, you see where it all began and how this mission right here with the Virtuous mission and then Operation Snake Eater, you see how all these characters changed. You see the beginnings of like who those characters were at their core and what changed them and what made them who they are. in the games that take place after this. So it's like really it's just incredible, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that's new to this because it's so well made because these characters, like, you believe that they're going through these changes in the story, like I can't dive into it too deeply without ruining it, but or spoiling it, I should say, for some of the new folks out there. But I really envy whoever gets to experience this for the first time now. You are in for a wild ride. I think you guys will love this. And it's I wish you could have lived through 2004 because, as I said before, it was one of the best years ever. This is, for all intents and purposes, like a very faithful remake of the 2004 game. So, what you're going to find here is pretty much all the cutscenes are intact, shot for shot. They follow everything that you see in the original. Obviously with the new graphical flair and upgrades. There's also to be noted as well the upgrade in the sound design as well. You will find that even with Volgan, let's say for instance, he has his electrical powers. Well, they gave him a little bit more of a, like a modern bassy sound, like when his powers kick in, which is not a nice touch. There's also some other ones too, like cutscenes where like some characters might be disoriented, they might have got hit hard or something blew up near them. The audio reflects that disoriented, shell shocked kind of feeling. All very nice touches, but another one for the purists here will definitely notice. I know I certainly did. It was the retouch of the theme song performed by Cynthia Harrell. Not only just with her vocals, which are, it's very much true to the original. However, there are some of the high notes are a little different in this updated version, as well as, which is also very nice, the orchestral numbers here are, let's say, of a higher like production, it seems to me. I think they did a really good job with redoing the theme song. It actually sounds instrumentally better. I prefer the vocals in the original, but however, they're still fantastic here. I mean, Cynthia has a lovely voice. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. All right, so they updated the controls. They kind of follow the controls that you find in Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain. So you're going to be able to like, go prone, roll on your back or side or whatever. You can like shoot like that as well. You can also like crouch sneak. So you're going to be able to like stalk dudes stealthily by crouching and moving as well. So you're not locked into the standing, like slow like stalking move that you had in the original Metal Gear Solid 3. So that's kind of nice. You have those options. Obviously, it's Unreal Engine, so it looks very nice. Um, and then on top of that, I also noticed like some other like things that purists might pick up on. I know I certainly did again, is like when you're crawling through the grass, like the brush doesn't, kind of like move out of your way when you're crawling through there in first person. I mean, obviously this isn't going to be a big deal to anybody, but just a little like notable like detail that wasn't really there in this one, even though for the most part there are more details and everything else. And then also to touch on the audio updates as well. A nice little touch that I noticed was, so if you might remember when you call paramedic to save your game, she kind of tells you about some historical like tidbits about movies back in the day and all that, and she kind of goes over like sci-fi, because it was sci-fi movies were a big deal back in the 1950s and 60s. So one movie that they mention is Godzilla, right? And so this takes place in 1964. And when this came out in 2004, it was the 50th anniversary. And so what they did for 20 years later with this remake, they updated the audio for that. So now Paramedic mentions that 2024 will mark the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. So that's kind of like a cool little touch that they did there, to kind of like somewhat update it to like now. Um, but I don't know if they used AI for that. I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, it wasn't really like it was gonna like take away from the game or anything like that. In fact, I think it was kind of a nice little touch, just for those that might notice, might not. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. So I thought I'd mention it. However, there are some changes here, some updates to things like the controls. Let's say the CQC, for instance, seems to be less finicky than it was in the original. When you CQC somebody, you're less likely to make the mistake of like, ground slamming them. In the original, as you might remember, you'd constantly have to like go back into the survival viewer menu and manually change your camouflage, both your uniform and your face paint, so that you can get that very high, camo rating and be sneaky in the environments and whatever the situation calls for. So in this one, they streamlined it to a simple D-pad press. You can switch to whatever combo for face paint and uniform that you desire. It shows you the actual percentage value that each combination will give you. However, I did notice that if you get like a new camo or something, it's not registered in that simple D-pad. So you would have to manually go into the survival viewer and select your new camo or face paint. One thing I did notice, which was annoying to me, the change to the Mark 22 Hush Puppy. So I noticed that there was a bit of a tranquilizer drop that I kind of fumbled and gave myself away on a few occasions because I was, not to make excuses for myself, but it definitely took some adjusting to, because I've played through the original quite a bit over the years, and yeah, every time like I was trying to shoot somebody 50 meters away or so, uh, that tranquilizer drop just really screwed me up. So it was kind of hard to account for like the drop, get headshots at a distance with the 22 Hush Puppy. So yeah, that's a minor annoyance. I mean, it's not really gonna like ruin the game for you or anything. It just means you're gonna have to play it a little more cautious. Yeah, the other thing too, I didn't notice big dips in the frame rate department. I was playing on a PC. It's capped off at really 60 frames per second right now. But I mean, obviously, a higher frame would be nice. Other than that, like I didn't really have performance issues with it. I didn't really notice anything that was gonna ruin, my experience with this. But yeah, all in all, I think this is very much faithful to the original. I highly recommend it to anybody who is a diehard of the original, much like myself. However, I can't help but think that the asking price of $70 for the base game, as it stands right now, and it doesn't have the online component that was promised and is coming actually later this year. I think $70 asking price for what we got right here, as it stands right now, is not really worth it to people that um, are curious about this and want to experience it for the first time. I think 70 is just too much right now as it stands. Not to say that you won't enjoy it, you will most certainly, I'm sure. But another game came out this week. The remake of Gears of War, and that is all in all a very complete title. So it has the single player. You can also play co-op. You also have the multiplayer as well, and it's all there at launch. However, with Delta Snake Eater here, this does not have the online component. It has, Snake versus Monkey, the the theater mode thing as well, but it does not have the online component. And to me, that kind of takes away from the value of the game right now. I would say or suggest to the people that are new to this, that are eager to try it out, just hold off on it. You don't need it right now. Wait for that sale to eventually come through. That sale to eventually kind of come up, and bite at it right then and there, because then hopefully by then this will also have the online component to complement the great campaign or single player story, whatever you have here. So yeah, that's it for me. That's my take on this. Again, it's not that I hated it or anything. I don't think the performance stuff that you're hearing online is, at least not here on the PC version. I don't think it's like a big deal. I think it's fine as it is. Obviously, higher frame rate would be nice. I've heard differently about the console version. I haven't tested that or anything. I only have the PC one, so I can only go off of that. But as it stands, I would say bang for your buck, wait for a sale. Don't budge right now. Just wait. I'm sure the sale's coming. All right. So that's it for me. Thank you again. If you stuck through to the end, I really appreciate you guys for real. And chime in. Let me know what you think of this game because I love it. I think it's really cool that we get this remake because it's awesome now. The gun sound effects are great. They've updated those as well. I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but yeah, that's nice too. I think it's awesome to see this get brought into the new age so that the youngins get to enjoy it. You know, and it's great. It really is. But yeah, please chime in. Let me know what you think of this. What did you think of 2004? If you were around for that, man, let's just legendary that year. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks, guys. Again, I appreciate you. And you know what? I will catch you on the next one. All right. Take care now.
I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
This tastes great!